Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team video. Today I'm doing a special stat update for the game, considering how well the stat show did, and I've actually gotten quite interested in monitoring the meta and how tournaments are going on, so I thought I'd give this special update. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of the video, its results, stats as a whole, and just anything else you'd like to see. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. So yeah, after we did the stat show, like me and Hotsaucteddy, we've been talking it back and forth. We've linked up also more with the Honest Wargamer stat show, so shout outs to them. They've been helping a big deal. And we've been trying to refine what we're doing with the stats because, playing competitively, it's you've had Goonhammer doing some great work, but we haven't really had a proper holistic view of the stats, shall we say. And even then, we've been kind of limited to BCP, well, Best Coast Pairings, the app. But after talking to the Honest Wargamer, we've been finding ways to refine the stats to make them more accurate and useful. Because it's turned out to be a really useful tool to actually gauge the meta as a whole, because even though I'm quite aware of how people in the UK play, it's still, like, the rest of the world is still foreign to me. So getting to see all of that is really useful. Helps build a better picture of the game, well, globally, and how everyone else is doing. And it seems that everyone else enjoys it too. And yeah, we're trying to work on ways to refine it. Like, for one thing, we're trying to look at ways of getting results from people not using BCP. Obviously, we still have the same pitfalls of Best Coast Pairings, because the main problem we're experiencing now is people not using the correct faction. Either they're using the Compendium faction or a general faction, or like the one big problem we've had in the past 2 weeks is Best Coast Pairings has added the Legionary Kill Team name and the troop for the Void Dancer troop, but they haven't added the Corsairs. So people are either using Assyriani or Craftworld, which is both incorrect. Some are even using Drukhari. So it's like Elder Corsair stats are like a mess. But that's the problem with Best Coast Pairings, and we can't find a way to actually get them to fix that because you can't really get hold of them. But yeah, the reason I wanted to do this was to kind of show our new update on the stats, and it's all Hotsaucteddy. Like, I just bounced some ideas off, and he's done some more of himself. So I'll do a quick run through of the stats from this weekend. And before we go fully into it, it is mostly about the Void Dancer troops. They are very strong, as I thought when I first thought them, when I reviewed them, when I play tested them, like with friendly, like playing with friends and stuff. And the results have been quite interesting. But I'll get to that after we've gone through the results. So let's look at the stats. So once again, these are some hot, saucy takes. Thank you to Hotsaucteddy. Literally, he did them this morning. I'm recording this today, so it'll be kind of short, but once again, he is the main man. So here is a recap. So this is the chart sorted by the Winter FAQ win rates. So we found that after the Winter FAQ, Veteran Guardsmen and Novitiates and Pathfinders were the top kill teams. Compendium and White Dwarf factions are getting decent results, apart from poor Marines. And then in the March data slate, Void Dancers and Knackman came into effect. And initially the results, seemed quite good. Marines were going up in representation and win rate. Pathfinders and Veteran Guards were dropping. Novitiates were still doing really well. And then, from the picture of the stats we were getting, it was a kind of predictable meta, but very healthy and looked very good. Everyone had basically a 45 to 55% win rate, some closer 60, which is a bit, a warning sign, but not too bad. Only one faction above 60, which was the Novitiates. Then we looked at the past 2 weeks. We are now in Clowntown. So these are some very special Harlequin results. So after 2 weeks of results, we always preface this. It is only 2 weeks. Void Dancer has been out for 4. Still kind of new, but people still would have gotten some games in. So the Void Dancer troop have won 5 out of 11 events on Best Coast Pairings, with 9 out of 20 going undefeated. Also, while now being the second most popular faction, it's not the biggest of data. As we said, it's only from 2 weeks, but it's not good. Like, it's not a good look. Look, as you can see, I mean, Warp Coven are doing well with a 70% win rate, but then you look, oh, it's only one. It's like one player effectively. Deathwatch have a really good win rate, but they didn't win any events. Pathfinders, not so bad. Still a little bit above 55. Talons of the Emperor, but then you just look at that chart, and then you've got 9 undefeated Harlequins with 5 event wins. That's like, oh, they've overtaken Commandos as the second most popular faction, and they're just behind Vetguard. So this is some new stats from Hotsaucteddy. So one complaint we did get from people who were originally asking for stats and then said the stats aren't reliable is that we're now looking at how we can get matchup data. So we're looking at games individually instead of just the win rate as a whole to kind of get a better picture of how these factions are winning. So it means we can look at matchups on a matchup by matchup basis instead of a tournament by tournament basis going, this kill team won this tournament, instead of going and now we can go, this kill team played all these kill teams and won this tournament. So let's look at the current matchup data. So this is how the Void Dancer troops win rate is. So they've got in 11 games an 82% win rate against Vetguard. In 8 games, 100% win rate against Commandos. In 8 games, a 63% win rate against Pathfinders. Legionnaires, only in 7 games, 71%. Wormblade, 60%. 100% of the time they've beaten Drukhari, High Fleet, Novitiates, Space Marines, Imperial Guard, Orcs, Corsairs, and Hunterclades. Obviously, that's only 1 game. And then Craft Worlds, they've beaten 3, but I'm assuming those Craft Worlds are Corsairs. Although in my heart, I like to believe that every Craft World player is 12 Storm Guardians with 2 fusion guns. But like, we can kind of ignore anything with 3 or less. Anything 5 or even say 6 and above is very worrying. The fact they have like 100% win rate against Commandos already, and look at that Vetguard win rate, that's not good. Not good. As we said, it's only 2 weeks, so it's not concrete, but it's not a good picture. But as I said, we can ignore basically this bottom half because there's not enough games. And then, yeah, this is just another disclaimer from Hotsaucteddy. So it's become semi-automatic. It means, once again, the problem we have is the faction names coming from BCP. So we're kind of trying to filter out some of the factions to go like, obviously, these people aren't playing like Craft Worlds, they're playing Corsairs, but that's more difficult. It's like going, these people aren't playing Harlequins, they're playing Troop because they're playing Void Dancer Troop. But as you said, the main issue is Corsairs because they don't have a faction yet in Best Coast pairings. And yeah, like Hotsaucteddy's put all Chaos Space Marine onto Legionnaires because it makes sense. And yeah, we overall, we're having fancier charts to come. We might be doing monthly stat shows. I'm still kind of... we may do monthly updates. The goal is still doing quarterly updates based on when a data slate drops, because then we have an accurate standpoint to go, this is the meta, this is a meta, like 3 monthly metas. But once again, all thanks to Hotsaucteddy, like he is the man. So yeah, that's our brief snapshot of the past 2 weeks. So disclaimer time, Harlequin players get very upset. And even though we're looking at Harlequins, because they are effectively getting pre-nerf Custodes level results, it's not good. Like, not good at all. I won't go over what I would do to change them. That's for another video, where I need to talk about how Harlequins are affecting the meta. But it's interesting. Like, the funniest thing I found is there were people who were asking for stats, and then when they got the stats and they showed how well Void Dancer Troop were doing, all of a sudden the stats aren't accurate. It's also a pure coincidence that most of the people complaining about the stats are either Harlequin players or people about to buy Harlequin so they can play Void Dancer Troops. Just a weird stat. Just a weird stat. But you can tell it's not good. It's not good. But from what playtesters say, the devs are aware something will happen. Is it the end of the world? No, it's not good. But if they continue this kind of domination, obviously they're going to be nerfed. What I've seen people throw around is like community bans or not using them. And I would always vote against that, because I get the rationale, right? People are like, oh, we want to have a friendly time, but never blame the player, blame the rules. Like, if a faction is broken, you can't say, oh, it's the player's fault for playing them. If they're a dick, sure, but if they're just like you standard guy, oh, go, you know what I mean? Don't take out on the player unless they're actually being a dick. But I get where people are coming from. People were already talking about community bans and silent bans before the stats dropped, and I don't want that to make this worse. This is more just highlighting it for everyone and kind of the games devs as well. You know, because Pathfinders got silently banned, and if you silently ban a faction, it messes up the stats, because we all knew, like, Pathfinders were too good, but the stats didn't really reflect it because people, like, everyone in Poland was refusing to use them. People all over the place were refusing to use Pathfinders. So don't not use a faction. I would actually advise you to play Harlequins, well, the Void Dancer troop now. Like, invest now while stonks are high, yeah, before they get nerfed, yeah. Just play them now. They are like the easiest S tier faction to play, but that's another thing. But this is mainly just a good snapshot of how the meta is evolving, and I'm only really doing this video partly because the stats are kind of hilarious for how bad the Harlequins are, but also we kind of wanted to show off the way our stats are evolving. So we're going to be feeding back to the community more. And if you're a tournament organizer and you want to be involved in the stats, just send me a message, or like Hotsaucteddy's on the Honest Wargamer Discord. You just give me a shout and we can work something out, because as I said, we're trying to find ways to incorporate stats without having to rely on BCP, even though BCP is going to be where we get the majority of our stats from. It's just something the Honest Wargamer has been helping with. So thank you very much. But that's pretty much it for today's video. It's not doom and gloom. It's an analysis. What we need to do is keep watching the meta, see how it evolves. I mean, personally, I already think Void Dancers came out too busted, but you know, we'll let the stats don't paint a good picture for that kill team. There are people arguing, as I said, who wanted stats, now saying the stats are not good, but I find that hilarious. As I said, because they're all basically playing Void Dancer troop, so what do I know? But yeah, please remember to like and subscribe and comment. Let me know what you thought of the stats, how the meta is evolving. Do you even care that Void Dancer troop are starting to dominate better than Custodes are? You know, just let me know. I'd be really interested to see what people think. But main shout-outs go to Hotsaucteddy and also the Honest Wargamer. So check them both out. It's like you can find both on the Honest Wargamer Discord. Once again, I'll link them down in the episode description. So check them out. But yeah, that's been a short meta snap. There's a lot to come this week. A lot of stuff. It's on my calendar thingy. But I'll be having a lot of content this week. And tune in for Thursday if you're watching this week. You'll like what's coming Thursday. Trust me. But until next time, remember, no matter what the stats say, even if you're a space clown, you can always roll a crit.